material, like what it's made of. What's the company called?
It sounds to me like Chemo just wants to dominate the mic and not let anyone else have a conversation.
What we're interested in is where is it? So we can see it, verify, validate.
We do validate it, and we do verify it, and we do that through things like.
Do you want to hear me play my harmonica?
Actually, yeah, you know what, Shermie, go ahead. Yes.
Yes.
Please play your
We're in
harmonica.
favour.
Okay, but can you play a song?
That was fucking beautiful.
That was
That
good. Well done, bravo.
I need to I need to Google one. I mean, like I need to YouTube and practice it or something. I mean, what song should I practice or look up? I mean,
Look, guys, this is cruel.
Yeah,
I get
listen, I
it,
can play
but
Jingle
we
Bells
do it
right?
to be kind, save you
okay.
a lot of stress in the long run. Okay.
Yo, Kevin, what song should I practice?
I'm trying to think of a
What
song.
you should do is you should look up some of the old people stuck in jail harmonica songs. There's got to be a load of those.
I'm trying to think of a quest for you. You know, Fly Me to the Moon?
No.
Doesn't really suit the harmonica for the range that you've got in that song.
I can just sing like, you're just like, I'm fucked up. I'm drunk, right? But listen, see when you do this, it's like, see, when you breathe in and out, do you think it's giving you like mad hardcore adrenaline?
If you've got an old harmonica that's not yours, don't do the breathing in bit because you're then sucking all spit that you've just blown into it, which may not be good for you. Just FYI.
You get me?
Come on then, Shroomy, what are we waiting for? So yeah, I mean, again, play something sad for us, something mellow, something meditative. Play a sad song for the guys, like a violin, as I explain.
Don't know any songs right now. I need a fucking shit. I need a Google one. I mean, and memorize or some shit, right? But I can make one up all by myself. Like, I mean, I can make one up. Right, listen.
That's it, nice and slow and sad. Oh, these poor glow birthers.
Good.
Keep going.
Yeah, like depressing as fuck.
I like that one. Like that. That was good. That depressing sound.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, let's make a globe song. I mean, like talk about that. Talk through it. I think you can actually talk through it, like hello, good to see you. Like, you hear that? That was like kind of hello.
Just play a slow song. Come on. Over. Oh, they try to. Oh, but their lives turned into Pinocchio's nose. Was no chance. Come on, Shroomy.
Are you gonna ask you for my autograph now?
Well, we're gonna form a band. Are you gonna play or what?
Nah, I'm done. I mean, I'm done. I need to Google some.
All right, put the hat out. Pack some.
Joe, I should go down
the Potenders.
Get the cap out, Shroomy.
Yo, listen. You ever like lean on your arm and you get a dead arm? That's what happened to my arm.
Jimmy, just play the song now. Play the. Okay, good. Why do you keep stopping?
I'm a legit. Because I'm fucking. I don't know.
I think that was good though, Shroomy.
Yeah, don't stop, Shroomy. Come on.
No, I think he said he's done. I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to smoke something. I mean.
Yeah, let him smoke.
Oh, Shroomy, got me all excited there.
Well, you know, Jem has this recorded, Chemo. You can always go back and
Listen back.
replay the
Let me
parts
do
where
that.
Shroomy was playing.
Yo, I think it's kind of funny. Listen, like, see when you just keep do this, like.
Good, that's good. Keep it going. Keep it going.
We're gonna go smoke, Shroomy.
It's crazy, isn't it?
That's too crazy, yeah.
You're getting out of breath.
What was this dude from last night? Because I never heard of these guys before. Alex, the conspiracy guy. I never heard of these people.
Oh, did you just watch a little bit, yeah?
Yeah, for a little bit. It didn't seem interesting, so I was hoping you would just give the highlights.
Well, like I just said, this guy was completely clueless. He has no idea about the movie. I mean, I think he was just like a gamer or something. Just trying to be famous, trying to get his name out there or something. He didn't even know who went to the moon. He didn't know anything about it, really. Just, what was his argument?
Sounds like an idiot. How was the Glober, though? Was the Glober okay?
That's what I was talking about. But I was thinking if Jem was on there, it would have been a lot different. Because he was obviously bringing up points where I've heard the answer to. That guy had no idea. But the Flat Earther, obviously, sticking to... Because he brought up a funny thing happened on the way to the moon, and I thought, why would you use that? There are much better videos out there that show the moon landing was fake. So, Jem should get involved in those things. Maybe upset, I think. But yeah, it doesn't get any better, right? You don't feel any better. Like every day that you don't go to space, another day.
Yeah, I've got a scientific question, right? See when you're smoking a cigarette, do you think it looks like the sun? Like, do you think that's what the sun is made of?
No, the sun is, I was looking at Eric Dollard or something. It's like an electric sun or something. Very straight. You're going to do a bit more homework on
it. Do you think the sun's a cigarette?
It could be a projection, it could be like an electric. It's not burning anyway. They were saying...
Have you seen that black hole? Like, that black hole looked like a cigarette. I mean, obviously, like, the...
Oh, yeah.
The photons around the black hole look like a cigarette.
No, that was a good confession by Rocket. That, you know, he gets paid while it pays for it. And I just knew this. Same as most people who work.
He got paid?
Yeah, because he was like, well, look, I get paid for this. It pays for my PlayStation, my rent and stuff. So whether they send that out or not, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't bother me. They give me money.
He didn't say any of that. He didn't say any
he
of
did
that
say that.
No, he said the first part. He said the first part of what you said. He didn't say that second part.
He said he gets paid, so it doesn't matter anyway.
No, he didn't say that either. He said I get paid to pay for my PlayStation. He said that stuff, but I mean, he didn't have to tell me that. I already knew Rocket gets paid.
Yes, but he's saying that it doesn't matter if
got a fucking job, gets paid.
It doesn't matter if it's fake or not because he gets paid anyway.
He never said that.
That's what he just
never
said.
It doesn't matter if it's fake or not.
That's not what I said, Chemo, you piece of shit. Stop.
What did you say then?
I told you not to do that.
You say it doesn't matter if it's what? I get paid.
What I said was, well, it pays for my gin and PlayStation. That's what I said. That's all. I didn't add any other caveats or any other precursor statements or anything like that. You chose to do that for me, you piece of shit.
You said something along. You were implying that, well, I get paid anyway, so.
I never said that. I said it pays for my gin and PlayStation.
That's all the point. What does that mean? It pays for. Of course, it pays for. We know that anyway. You're saying it pays for my stuff, so it doesn't matter, real or not.
No, I never said it doesn't matter. Never said that or implied that. You are once again putting words in my mouth and trying to manipulate the situation, you little piece of shit.
You shouldn't have said it pays for my stuff. Why would you tell me that?
I didn't say it pays for my stuff. I said it pays for my gin and PlayStation specifically. Just those two things.
That's your stuff, dude.
He probably has more stuff than that, though, Chemo. And he's actually not only didn't say what you said, he actually said the contrary of that just now. So
Yeah, he's changed his story now, yeah.
no, he hasn't.
And
changed his
Chemo
story.
said in jest if you haven't figured that out, you little lying piece of shit.
No one's lying here, right? At the end of the day, we're talking about you
Oh,
can't prove
Chemo,
it.
no. See, that's where you're wrong. You are one of the biggest liars on the flat Earth side.
No. Again, there's no need to lie, Rocket. Yes? All I was asking you a couple of questions about your company, and it turns out you can't say too much, you don't know too much, you won't reveal too much. As a result of that, you felt uncomfortable.
No, stop, because you never asked me any question for which I responded. I can't answer that.
Yeah, because we were talking about could we verify those satellites that I posted? You're like, well, no.
Keep on predicting the answers to questions he didn't ask again.
Yeah, but we're talking about satellites, and that's where it gets uncomfortable. Like to ask for
I was asking Rocket a question, Chemo. You don't have to respond with something unrelated to what I asked.
Yeah, but we were talking about satellites. I'm trying to say to Rocket that while he doesn't know what's going on really, because he really track them. Given
Are you assuming
That's where you're Chemo.
what Rocket does again?
it's a
Did you not hear me
program.
say that we use UHF antennas to do orbit determination? Let me finish that thought. We track our own satellites.
No, with a program.
No, with antennas.
No, but you've got to install a program to your computer in order for it to work, which is already pre-programmed to make sure that it looks like a globe.
No.
You have no idea what you're fucking talking
Rocket,
about.
we
A
know
lot of
these
this
things
stuff is
already,
written
and
by
like
these people
it is
in
difficult.
script
But like you
like
said, you get
Python
paid,
to
so
do
it doesn't
the
really matter.
analysis.
Chemo, you're having it explain to you how the system works, and it doesn't have to be predetermined, is what I'm getting out of it. You should probably listen instead of pontificate.
I think,
No,
Rocket,
because
you want to
he's
ask
got
yourself, is Chemo actually going to listen to any comment or answer you give and take it on board? Or are you actually just wasting your fucking time with this idiot?
No, because what Rocket would do, like I
More
said,
so
the
the latter than the former, I imagine.
Rocket will get
Oh,
sent
by
up.
the way, Rocket, my girlfriend's younger brother has decided he wants to do aerospace engineering or rocket science, and I was wondering if I could send him to you on Discord to have a chat about the career paths.
Sure. Be happy. There's a couple of textbooks I always give to aspiring aerospace engineers. That's a good starting point. Yeah, happy to chat with
Flat
him.
Earthers. We'll put him right.
Extend that invitation to Chemo as well.
Yeah, send him to us. We'll explain to him exactly what's going on, Brian. How space.
I think the 10th grader that I'm going to send him would have an easier time understanding the book than you.
No, he wouldn't. He would understand us more than rocket science. We would explain to him, look, you know what a vacuum is, right? Sonny boy? Be like,
Chemo.
yeah. And I'd be like, look, so you know gas pressure is, yeah?
Monologuing now.
He'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, so you know that you can't have gas pressure next to the vacuum? He'd be like, no way. And I'd be like, yeah, try and test this out for yourself. Gas pressure.
But surely we don't have vacuum next to like gas pressure. We have low pressure next to low pressure, don't we, man? That's what we observe in reality, dude.
Then I'd be like, you see,
So why do we
your
observe that in
elders,
reality and you're like telling me lies? Why are you
I'd be
lying to me, bro?
like your elders are lying to you.
Why would you lie?
Why would you lie to me, bro? It's
Elders. I'm pretty old as it is, so.
The young kid.
Next to gas pressure,
I'd say his elders are lying to you about where space is.
Dress, I get what you're doing, but you sound like Chemo and Brummy's love child when you do that. It's really disturbing.
I know. I was really trying for that.
That's disturbing.
That's a disturbing thought.
It is disturbing. So,
Yeah,
like I
bro,
said,
I mean,
send
the
that
way
send
that
that
just
there
works-
that youth our way, and we will give him the correct information concerning reality, concerning rockets, how they cannot work in a vacuum. They simply have nothing to push off.
But we have no
Chemo,
pressure, bro.
you need to stop saying that line because I've shown you that that is absolute a bullshit statement. That the
No,
thrust
no.
is produced by the mass flow rate and the exhaust velocity. The
Yeah, but what
majority
was
of the thrust happens that way.
no, I hear what you're
Right,
saying, but as
man,
soon
just
as
that
I've
any
also shown
statement.
you that if it was just a pressure differential force, as you claim as pushing off the atmosphere, as they like to say, that does not produce enough thrust to get that rocket into even 100 meters into the air.
no, try to understand. Once the rocket reaches
No,
carbon,
Chemo, stop. You
I
need to understand this. You need to step up to the plate and do better than what you've been doing for the past couple of years.
what, you're getting angry
Because
again
what
now.
you tried to do with that video and you manipulated the equation, and for God's sakes, you took the pipe, you took flow of a fluid in a pipe and you stuck it in a thrust equation, like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen done.
No, because
Do you know how
again,
stupid you look when you do that? When you did that?
well, I can explain how rockets work in a vacuum. They would need something to push
He
off.
can
But
explain
you
how
can explain how rockets
by,
work in a vacuum.
he can explain how rockets work by not using anything related to rocketry in order to show you that they don't work.
Rocketry is not any different from any other device, like a car or a
Really?
boat
A
or an
rocketry is
aeroplane.
not different to a potato peeler. That's
Same
a device.
principle. A rocket.
I mean, how stupid was that statement, Timo, when you actually examine it? A
What you gotta
rocket is
look
not
at is-
different to any other
Wait, Timo,
device.
explain to me how an internal combustion engine is the same thing as a rocket.
I mean, again, the idea is to get acceleration. That's what we're looking for. Yes, you need a force. Okay, and in order to have that force,
That
you've
did
got to
not
have
answer my
that
question.
force press off a surface
does.
area. Now, in space, there is no surface area to push off, to press off, to gain any acceleration.
I don't believe you've actually proved that you require a surface to push off.
So without that
I've
surface
not seen
area,
the
there was
evidence
just
of
no
that. I've
way
not seen you
to be able
demonstrate
to
that that's
any-
true. I think that's one of your wild assertions without any research. And as I said before, Chemo, when it comes to topics like this where you want to talk about the technical details of things like communications, you are so out of your fucking depth, you have no idea.
I mean, a good example of this is if you take a skateboard, a gun, stand on a skateboard, and fire the gun, will move. But if you
Why?
take your skateboard,
No, why? Why would you move?
if you take your skateboard and you jump out of an aeroplane with your gun, and you've got the skateboard attached to your, and you fire the gun, you're not going to skate or roll anywhere. If you take your skateboard in a vacuum chamber, in an astronaut suit,
That's nonsense. Chemo, you're wrong.
that's what would happen. If you go in
Yeah.
an astronaut suit,
No, it's not.
Oh, you're wrong.
if you go in a large vacuum and you drop like the bowling ball and the feather, so they drop you from that height, gun, skateboard, you fire, nothing will
Let me
happen.
know when you finish, Chemo, because I don't want to get muted.
So this is the idea of
We
how
showed you
science.
that gun in the vacuum chamber, Chemo.
Yeah, because
What?
because there's no oxygen in the vacuum chamber. Of course, the gun's not going to fire.
The question I wanted to ask you,
Oh,
Rocket,
actually, no,
does
gunfire in a
does
vacuum
you
chamber is fine
say
because
that
the saltpeter works as an oxidizer.
I don't
I mean,
expect you to do anything with the chemo, but the A10, when it fires its guns, it slows down
a
the
lot.
speed of the plane.
No, we're talking about in
Damn
a
you, Kurt, I
large
was going
vacuum
there.
chamber.
The gun on the skateboard, chemo,
No, not on the
like
skateboard. You're
dropping
holding
out
the
of the
gun.
air.
Yeah, an A10 is like a gun on a skateboard. It's just on a very big skateboard.
So you could use
And they
a.
actually have to
One
worry about how
direction.
long they fire that gun for because it can technically slow a plane down to stall speed.
Chemo, do you have anything new, by the way? Because
I
to be
do.
very honest,
I've just got to make a video about it
It just-
first.
You've been
Responded.
at like in a stalled space for the past 6 months to a year, to be honest.
Responded Curve's the plane thing, man, because I totally forgot about that whenever we were showing you that gun in the vacuum chamber, and you said that the only reason why it was doing that was because it was attached to the ground. It was attached to something, but the airplane's not attached to anything.
The airplane,
how
the
does that
airplane's
happen?
got the atmosphere.
So what is it that's making it move? Is it the atmosphere, or is it the fact that it's attached to the ground?
What, the
'Cause
aeroplane?
Last time you said it was attached to the ground.
What, the
Now you're saying it's the
aeroplane?
atmosphere again.
What?
Yeah, airplanes can fly at faster speeds at higher altitudes.
No, but
According
an
to Newcomers, that
aeroplane
should be
doesn't work in a
possible.
vacuum, does it? No. Take the X-15 and
Kimo,
you go up to
try to
70 miles.
focus on what the question is.
Got to 70 miles in a vacuum, X-15 will fall back down to Earth.
That's fine, Kimo. The gun was not. The gun was in a vacuum. It had. No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Show me.
The kick wasn't because of the air.
Show me.
We showed this to you the other day, man.
I've never seen it.
See
You
it
wasn't
again?
showing me. You should show somebody else.
Oh, I showed this to you, Kimo. I showed several of these.
Showing it in a vacuum, yeah?
Yeah, a gun in a vacuum that was fired, and the gun to show that there was kick. And
Go
you
on
said
then,
it was
give us a
because
look
it was
then. Give us
attached
a
to
look.
something. All right, give me a second. Saved somewhere. Hold on. I mean, you responded to this last time. It's just you responded.
Maybe, but I mean, again, I see so much stuff.
Fair enough. Give me a second.
Also, I want to shoot a question to Kimo as well, if that's okay. Ah, beautiful. I want to refer back to the assertion you made that things must have a surface area to push off of for a force to exist. And I'm wondering, if you just simply hold your hand out and lift it, what exactly are you pushing off of there?
Hmm?
If you hold your hand out and you lift it,
Yeah.
what surface area are you pushing off of there? There's no surface.
So you create a wind, right?
Doesn't address the question. No, you do not create a wind.
But you don't. There's no resistance.
There is air resistance, yes, but that doesn't explain how exactly that force came about.
What are you?
It
The
certainly
force came
doesn't-
about from you
it certainly
waving your
doesn't
hand.
support the notion that it came about from some sort of surface area.
So how do we know this is in the vacuum?
It says it on the screen.
Excellent digression. Thank you, Kimo.
Well, he does that. If he doesn't want to answer a question, what he does is he basically starts a different topic. You know, that classic, guy with a machine gun on a skateboard thing. What I wanted to ask him, which again he totally ignored, is
Did I answer your question? I said there's
are
a
the bullets
resistance,
pushing
so
off?
that's
Yeah,
your
I haven't
surface
finished my
area,
point,
right?
Kimo. I'm in the middle of a sentence. Can you not overtalk me? Can you stop doing this? Every time I'm trying to get to a point, you start overtalking me. Just stop it.
But Mohammed
You've got
asked me a
enough fucking
question, and
mic
you're
time for everybody else
interrupting
combined,
the conversation
so
that we
give
were
someone
having.
else a chance to talk.
Yeah,
Can I
Mohammed
finish
asked
my
me a
point now?
question talking about
Can I finish my point
the
now?
resistance.
I was in the middle of my point. Can I finish it now, please?
So the surface area would be your
Can I
hand,
finish my point now, Kimo?
and the acceleration would be gas that's in.
Why can I get a mod in here? Because this is ridiculous. He's just over talking me, and this is ridiculous.
I finished my point now, Drew.
Why the fuck did you do that, Kimo? I was halfway through a sentence and you just interrupted me.
I was having a conversation with Mohammed. He asked me a question.
You weren't. You were silent for like 10 seconds, and I wanted to make a point on the GIF someone posted. And why I did that, you started to interrupt me because you know the point that I'm making fucks you up, like most other things.
We're
So the
already
point I was
having a
gonna make is,
conversation,
what are those
Dress.
fucking bullets pushing off to push that guy backwards?
He's asking about when you put
They're
your
not.
hand
It's the
in the air.
recoil of the rifle because, again,
Where's the
I
surface
can't finish
area?
the point without you over talking me. Fine.
You
I'll
just asked me a
overtalk
question,
every
you
time
asked me
talk, and then
why.
you'll mute me,
I've just
and then
told
you
you
can look
why.
like an arsehole. How about that?
I've just told you why. You asked me why. I've just told you.
So, no, I hadn't even finished my point, and you didn't even wait for me to listen.
Yeah, but you asked me a question
Well,
why.
I'm
I'm
not going
telling
to
you
stop
why.
now. Why should I?
So that is why.
You're
You were
not
having
doing
a
me the courtesy
conversation
of letting me
already.
talk.
And he asked me about his hand.
Why not? Why
He
should
asked
I
me
let
about
you
where the
talk when you don't
surface
do the
area
courtesy
is.
of anyone else?
I gave him the answer. You interrupted it, but I
You
finished my
can at
point
least
now.
apologise
Carry
for
on.
over talking. That's what you can do.
All right. Just come on, Kimo. Please give him a little bit of room.
I just said I
his
finished my
sentence.
point.
Come
You
on,
can go
mate.
on now.
No. Please just play fair. Come on, Trust. Go finish your point
Hello,
if you
Rick.
remember. What's
All I
going
was
on,
trying to
mate?
make the point of is the fact that what we're seeing with
Not bad,
that
how you
machine
doing?
gun being fired from a skateboard is a perfect example. The bullets are not pushing off the air to push the guy back. It's the recoil of the rifle that's doing it. The mass being thrown forward and the recoil going backwards. That's what's moving it. So you don't need something to push off. It's the recoil itself doing it on its own.
And Kimo, what is the connection between the bullets and the gun if they're out of the gun?
Connection
There's
between
no
the bullet and the
connection
gun.
anymore.
Well, you've got a force, you've got an acceleration. But we're talking about space. Don't confuse atmosphere with space. Because what's supposed to happen in space is a lot different.
How is the
than what would
connection
happen-
between the atmosphere and the gun?
Yeah, that would happen within an
How
atmosphere.
can you not push it?
There's a resistance from the atmosphere
On what point?
as soon as it leaves the gun.
Yeah, that is the work is done.
Yeah, there's a resistance.
Yes, that's the work is done. The bullet can't push anymore on the gun.
What did Chemo say? You've got a force, you've got an acceleration.
Force acceleration, yeah.
The work is done. The bullet leaves the cartridge. Yeah.
Put it in all
This
the way.
moment, the work is done.
Okay, so what's your point?
Yes, there's no connection between the air and the gun and everything. It can't push on the air to.
No. I said a force and then acceleration.
What's the connection?
Force acceleration.
Exactly.
In what point?
What do you mean in what point?
Show
You had a force. If the skateboard starts
acceleration
moving,
without force.
why did the skateboard move?
you
Because
just
there was
said.
a force. Yes?
You don't pay attention, do
Chemo.
you? I'm not going to belabor this point. It's done, Chemo.
Think space is just like Earth, but you just like need a snorkel.
Space is
When you're
like
space.
Earth. No.
Do you go scuba diving in space? I can't. What's it? You talk about.
Look, let's get back to the original point. Is
That you were wrong.
rockets, vacuum, something push off, otherwise it remain in one place.
Yeah, and why?
Yeah, well, then how come the gun is moving, Chemo? That's why I showed it to you.
Force
different reason the other day,
acceleration, Kosho. Force acceleration.
Right. So then you understand it then. Because the
Cause
force
and
is occurring,
effect, yes.
and the gun's going to accelerate because of that. The same thing as a rocket. There's no difference in principle.
No, because again, you've got the atmosphere in your vacuum. Without that, you have to fire the gun. And
There's no atmosphere in a vacuum, Chemo.
Kosho, come on. Listen,
Come on,
no
what are you
such thing as a
talking-
perfect.
why would you say that? Why would you say the atmosphere in the vacuum? There's no atmosphere in the vacuum chamber.
Well, there's a slight atmosphere.
No.
Not perfect.
Yeah, but there's not enough to have any consequence in anything that you're describing.
Of course there is.
And what consequence is that? Explain how that occurs, Chemo.
Fire
In
the
a
gun
near
for a
vacuum
start,
situation, something existing there to be able to push. You're just saying silly things, man.
No, you got to understand. You're in a container, tight space. If you did it in a real vacuum, a large one, you wouldn't get this effect. Trying to cheat.
Chemo, just admit that you're just lying.
No, again, we deal with the.
If you fire a gun in a vacuum,
yeah, it
you,
has to be a large vacuum.
you ignite the gunpowder, it builds up pressure, and then the pressure goes high enough to push the bullet out of the cartridge.
Everything is done on such a small
And
scale.
that is the moment where you have the resistance of the bullet and the pressure of the gunpowder, and that accelerates the gun in the other direction. And from this moment on, every work is done, and there's nothing more to do.
I hear what you're saying in principle, but what we would need to see is the rocket actually operating the vacuum.
Yeah, that makes no difference where you do it. It always goes the same way.
No, I get the mathematics side. I get its numbers.
You ignite the gunpowder, you push out the bullet, and it's done. Over.
Chemo, I disagree. You do not understand the mathematics behind this.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't get the calculation, but I get that there's a mathematical explanation to it.
No, there's a dynamical explanation to this. would you use as mathematics?
No, you just calculate these things. Would it work if this, then that? But actually showing me right now rocketry in a vacuum, impossible.
What would that do if somebody showed that to you right now?
That would change my
It's been
world
shown.
view.
Chemo has been shown to you. There are
That would
videos.
change my world
Continue,
view.
Chemo.
The same videos are
give
going to
up
be
so
shown to
many
you again
different
and again and
things.
Continue. What would that do, Chemo?
That would change my world view, my perspective. Rock my world.
And you'd admit, oh wow, rockets do work in vacuums.
Yeah, and I'd be on to all the flat earthers like, what you on about, flat earthers? Of course rockets work in space. What are you talking about?
Don't go too far. I want this to remain in the realm of possibility.
Dude, if we can see a rocket flying around in space, yeah, then of course it's going to change everything, right?
So what is
No,
with
that
the
you can't
rockets?
have a vacuum. But if we saw this though, like if you went up there, past the Kármán line, and was actually in space now, not running a lot across the Kármán line.
Yeah, a rocket in space.
No, but you can't run across the Kármán. The Kármán line is above the rocket when it cuts out.
All right, here you go, Chemo.
What?
There you go. Now remember what you just told me, Chemo. Let's try to be honest with one another.
This is 9 seconds.
Huh?
9 seconds.
It's more than 0. It's a rocket in a vacuum.
Vacuum burn.
Seems to be working.
Rocket in 9 seconds.
It can only burn it for a short time. Then the vacuum chamber is not a vacuum anymore, but it works.
Right, what information do you think you got out of this?
Rockets work in vacuum chambers.
And you believe this because
The video I just showed to you.
Kosha, how do you know this is the vacuum?
How did I get into a vacuum? What?
How do you know this is a vacuum?
You can see
It's
at the exhaust gases.
Vacuum chamber in Sandusky.
Something is burning, Kosha, at the
Chemo.
beginning.
How the exhaust gases go away, it shows that it's in a vacuum.
At the
Or low
beginning,
pressure.
like 0 seconds, 1 second, there's a blue light, blue flame underneath it, kind of thing. At the bottom.
Yeah, it's very pretty. What about it?
What is so? How's it a vacuum if that's burning up like that?
Why wouldn't that happen? What are you talking about?
But it's a vacuum. How are they getting that burning stuff? Bottom.
I don't understand the question.
So, if this is a vacuum and something is burning, it's going to be producing gases, Kosha.
And
So, how is it a vacuum if there's gases inside the chamber? Sorry, bro. Again, this is what we do. We investigate
You are
from top
sorry.
to bottom, you see. And
you
we've got to make sure that...
you just lied.
What's at the
Lied to
bottom?
everybody.
Look,
Remember
before
how
the thing even
you
lights...
told the room that rocket scientist was lying, and then you presented something that he said, and then added your own words into it. Well, I asked you a question specifically to see if when I showed this to you, you would be lying. You just lied to everybody in the room, and lied to me when I asked you that.
Did you want to show a
I
vacuum?
think Chemo, I think there's a vacuum pump underneath the rocket motor. So they always take the gases out so fast they can.
I know, but literally at the bottom...
If they do it, this rocket motor fills the chamber in seconds.
No, but at the bottom, it's already burning. It's already,
Yes.
lit, something
There's
lit.
the suction pump underneath, and they take the gases away the fast they can.
No, but as soon as you do that, literally, it stops it from a vacuum.
They started burning in the vacuum, and then suck the gases so fast away they can. And if
Sorry,
you
Coach,
do
this
that,
can't
the
be a
chamber is
vacuum,
filled
you
with
know.
exhaust gases in seconds.
And why do they have it on the floor? Why isn't it flying around, Kosho? Like in
It is a
space.
test.
Because it's bolted down.
Where's the one that's flying around then? Like, where's the second stage
No,
then?
it has to fly around.
All right, where's the second part of it flying
It's
around?
only a test.
You can see one tomorrow, and on the 21st, I believe, SpaceX has 2 launches coming up.
One of them.
Can you
Oh,
see
we found
something?
one that was CGI. Check this out. Let me get it up for you. So they're even sending up CGI rockets now. Let's see if I can find it. Where did I see?
Kimo, look, Kimo, you accept the ISS. So you tell me how something gets to the ISS if
Nothing gets to
rockets
the
don't
ISS.
work in a vacuum.
Nothing gets to the ISS. Nothing's really going up there.
That's incorrect because there are pictures from the ground that show modules docking with the ISS.
And you yourself are claiming to
Gosh,
shut the
goodness me,
camera
you guys
off.
buy
They're
everything.
going
Your
somewhere.
comment is just total nonsense.
Buy everything. About verifying it
I have a
first.
private question to this rocket scientist.
Kimo, if you want to debunk this, you need to do a much better job of this. Because you're doing a piss poor job.
Right,
of
I
it so far.
found the video now. So even the rockets are CGI, and they just like the astronauts that glitch out. The rockets are now glitching out.
I have a question to the rocket scientist. Maybe he can explain me something. Or I want to explain something to him, and he said, can we say if I'm right or not? You are right?
Sure, we'll give it a shot.
Also, my explanation for the rocket works is you have the pressure in the chamber, and the molecules from the gas try to stay there, and the pressure pushed on this inertia of these atoms. And at this moment, the rocket goes away, and the gases go the other way. To get much force, you have to push very hard on these atoms to get enough to use all the inertia what is in the atoms. Is that right?
Yeah. If you look at the thrust equation, what you're talking about is the mass flow rate times the exhaust velocity. That's the majority of the thrust. Exactly what you're saying. There's a mass flow rate, and you're firing out really, really fast.
We use the inertia of the atoms in this moment.
Exactly.
The atoms want to stay there, and we push them so hard we can, and get but they go away. But
right, and then we use Newton's third law as the counterforce, which is pushing the rocket.
Yes, it's right. I understand it right. Thank you.
See, Kimo?
I know, I'm just
That's
getting this
pretty
link up
straightforward, isn't
now
it?
for you. With your CGI rocket now. They're not even using real rockets. Here's the link.
And that is,
I'll give you the
you can't make the
timestamp.
pressure much higher.
Timestamp is
and
at
the
5 minutes.
chamber don't hold the pressure anymore.
Hold on, literally. One thing at a time. The 5 minutes. 30. You
This
can go from there.
very high pressure. I read.
5 minutes
300.
20. 5 minutes. Just watch that rocket anyway. And look how it disappears in the. Look, he's even got the thumbnail there. Half a rocket disappeared. Right? So you explained that rocket with your little fake CGI rockets. Deceiving the masses, pretending they're going into space. Right?
Shows
Pretending.
You know, I don't accept your video. I think it's fake.
Yeah, you would do.
Prove to me your video.
What time?
5 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 seconds, 5 minutes. Something like that.
Okay.
Half the rocket disappears. Going on. Or been deceived. Perfect. Disappear.
And you see the exhaust gases of the rocket motor came out
CGI.
with no force of applied to them. If there is something to push, they will go to the side or
Right, so
you're
glitches.
You're posting a video that's showing imaging artifacts, and you're trying to claim that's CGI.
What is it? Is it supposed to be CGI?
No, Kima, you need to do a better job of this. This is just nonsense.
All right, fine. But anyway, you know, like when you wave your hand and there's a piece of dust. Citron, I'm asking you a question. Wave your hand, piece of dust is floating around. Waft your hand next to that piece of dust, and it follows your hand. Why?
You make a pressure difference with your hand.
Yeah, so it kind of like it spins around like in a circle or something. Yeah.
Yes. There's. What is it?
So if I move my hand down, the dust will go down or up. If I move it up.
Cyclones. Yeah? I'm searching for the word.
I don't know what the right word is.
Move your hand to the air.
Yeah. And the dust, it kind of like moves in a circle or something.
Yeah, the air tries to go around your hand. And
Why?
Hair's made of atoms, and they go away and try to go there where to fill the space on the other side of your hand.
Ah. It's like when you got your hand in water.
Where's the problem?
No, I'm just asking why it happened.
It's like the hand you move a hand to water.
Yeah. And then if there's an object in the water, it moves towards your hand or something. Yeah?
It's the same.
Okay. So in space, what would happen?
There's nothing that you can push away.
Yeah, but if there's dust around your hand and you waft your hand, what happens?
What?
In space,
I don't understand.
What will happen?
Space is emptiness.
So if there's like debris or something, and then you waft your hand, does that dust follow your hand?
Why?
I'm asking you.
There is no. There's nothing.
You get debris, right? Particles.
Yeah, but both sides of your hand has the same pressure. Why it has to follow you?
No, I know, but I'm just saying if you just wave your hand, the dust around you will move with your hand.
Yes, you are in the atmosphere. There's air around you.
But
everywhere.
In space, if there's debris, you know what debris is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you're in space and the debris is around you...
How can the debris connect to your hand? What is... The debris is in nothing, and your hand is close to nothing. And where's the connection to them?
That's what I'm asking. It's possible.
Yeah. And what's the problem? I don't really understand where you're going.
If this would happen in space.
No.
Why? That's the point, because there's nothing to push off, right?
Your hand is not a rocket motor.
No. But in order to move the dust around you with your hand on Earth, you've got the air to help you.
Kimo, this whole argument is just weak.
Yes,
because in order for you to do this, you are violating the uniformity of nature.
What do you mean? By doing what?
By making this assertion.
No, I'm saying, you know what dust is. You move your hand, dust moves around with your hands, right?
Your whole position of rockets don't work in a vacuum violate the uniformity of nature, because we can show and demonstrate the conservation of momentum in a vacuum on Earth. And then because we can do that, then it works in space, Kimo.
No. That's what the papers say. That's the general idea. Practicality can't show this. Again,
how the hell are you? Then what are you going to do to actually debunk this, aside from just speaking out of your blowhole?
What we're going to do is
you're not going to go into a lab and do anything. So what is your
We have to build a vacuum chamber with
We
a
don't need to
rocket
go in a
motor.
laboratory. We just need to spread the word that
show it
the
on.
professionals cannot demonstrate their claim.
No, Chemo, we can, and we have done that, and we provided that to you. So now the burden of proof is on you to demonstrate that it can't work.
So you think by a couple of words, magic words, this is your way of proving stuff? No, it doesn't work like that.
There's a preponderance of evidence to show that it works. Your claim is that it doesn't work. The burden of proof is on you.
Again,
you're making
repeating that we have something.
It's on you to demonstrate it. So you tell me what test you're going to do to show that it doesn't work.
Well, again, it's not our claim. You've made a claim that you have something, and you've said, well, we've got a preponderance.
No. Stop. This doesn't work this way, okay?
It has
the established position is that rock is a work in space. Your claim is that it doesn't.
No, that's not established. It's never been established. That's the point.
Yes, it is. It's established.
Never been substantiated by any means. Just by what you're telling me now.
I am not accepting your line of logic because it's bullshit.
Look, just because you get paid to do something that you can't prove doesn't mean that it's actually real, Rocket.
Prove me wrong, Chemo.
They pay you to be as difficult like you are now. That's part of the job.
No, that's just my personality. That's just a bonus that you get.
No, because you wouldn't have got the job otherwise if you would. So the idea is that they're like, this is the kind of guy who will keep quiet, keep dumb, won't ask too many questions.
Me keep quiet? Do I sound like the fucking kind of guy who would keep quiet and the kind of guy who you could tell somebody to do without explaining what it is to do? I don't work that way.
Yes, they're thinking, in fact, this is the kind of guy who will actually defend our position for us.
You know what? You're getting off the point. The burden of proof is on you, Chemo. You need to establish what test you're going to do to show that the rockets don't work in space. Not your stupid bullshit video that you made. What test are you? What practical demonstration are you going to put in place that's going to show the rockets don't work in space?
Again, it's not our claim. You're making.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It absolutely is.
You're making the wild assertion that a place called space exists.
We've demonstrated, we've shown you videos, I can show you calculations, I can show you tests, I can show you tons of space rocket. I can show you repeatedly. We've provided that evidence to you. Now,
no, try to listen.
Your position is contrary, so what are you going to do to contest that?
I don't want to listen. I know it's hard. We don't want any calculations.
No, it's hard for you because now I'm tired of your mouth and I'm calling you out on your bullshit. What are you going to do, Chemo, to prove yourself right and me wrong?
All right, fine. Where's your rocket company? I'll come there. Show you that it's all fake. Where is it? Give me the address where this rocket place is. Allow me access to
Baikonur.
Okay, so allow me access to ask questions to the right people.
You don't get access to this.
Exactly.
You don't get access
there
to
you
my
go.
lab
A stumbling block you are.
So this is on you, Chemo.
You're a stumbling block to the truth. You won't allow investigators to actually investigate.
You don't because you don't have the qualifications or the security clearance to be allowed in. You know that. So you have to do something else. It's still on you.
You said you're the top of the pile. Make me a badge. Get me in there. Get me asked.
You don't get that privilege.
You see, again, stumbling block. You're a hurdle we have to get past, and it's because of people like you who are not lying.
Any first or second year engineering student can demonstrate this without
get those students. We've got an expert here.
Or any security clearance.
Why do we need a student? We've got an expert.
Because you're a coward and you know you can't do it, so you have to waffle your way through this.
Haven't you had a good life already? I mean, haven't you already had a good life?
It's on you, and I want you to explain yourself now how you're going to demonstrate this.
Again, we don't make claims that a place called vacuums space exists. That's you.
Well, let's do a little bit flat Earth science, yes?
We have a firmament rocket where rockets cannot leave.
That's another claim. You have a firmament. Show me where the everything you say is a claim. So therefore, which is accompanied by a burden of proof. I've met mine. Lichwink has met his. Foolish has met
but
his.
The firmament. We only know about the firmament because of God.
We have provided you the preponderance of evidence.
Yeah, like that.
But you have done nothing yourself.
I can provide you information on the firmament.
I find it extremely hypocritical.
Oh my gosh. So again, I can
to
provide you information on the firmament.
Please, yes.
So, Kim, are you a hypocrite?
I'm trying to explain to you. Like, I can provide you.
I don't want to. I want you to explain the test that you're going to do.
No, there's no observed phenomenon here. There's no test.
No, this is bullshit. Then basically, then everything you're saying is bullshit, and it's easily dismissible. If you're not willing to back up what you're saying, then what you're saying is just bullshit.
Again, no claims are being made.
Yes, you have. You claim the rockets don't work in space.
There is no place called space.
You made a
space
fucking
first.
video to try to back it up.
You've got to prove space is a real place. You understand? You can't just go making up imaginary places and say, "Oh, I send things to this imaginary place." That's the point. You're in a whole world of trouble, Rocket. Because scientifically, it doesn't work.
I said rockets don't work in a vacuum. I didn't say space. I said rockets don't work in a vacuum. You can make a vacuum here on Earth, and you can demonstrate your position. So how are you going to do that?
We don't have a large enough vacuum to show it.
Well, then that's your problem, then, isn't it? Then that is on you.
No, you don't have a large enough vacuum to show it either. Neither do you have a vacuum large enough to show it, Rocket.
I got one bigger than what you have available currently. But here's the thing. Why should you be allowed to use the equipment that I have access to prove your point? Wouldn't that be, well...
Your claim? Why are you not getting this? You're making a wild claim.
No, Chemo.
You're like, I'm a rocket scientist. I send rockets into space. That's who you are. That's what you say. And we're like, what? Space is not even a real place. You're like, yes, it is.
And we provided you the videos. I can provide you calculations. I can provide you telemetry
data. No calculations necessary.
This is true. What are you going to bring to the table aside from bullshit?
No, again, you're on trial. You're defending the lie.
Being that as it may, fine. I'm on trial. We provided you our evidence. What is yours?
Again, we're the prosecutor, right? We're going to make sure that if people like yourself are saying things like...
You still need to provide evidence, Chemo. Be that as it may, as you want to call it, a trial, whatever the case. I don't care if it's the prosecution or defense. You still need to provide evidence.
We don't know.
Beyond a reasonable doubt, if I may add.
Mm-hmm.
So are you prepared to do this?
We are cross-examining you. See? Because you're the one who's making a wild claim about something that you cannot substantiate. You said, I sit behind a computer and I look at data. What does that mean? Play computer games. Can't verify the place that you say exists.
You need to move past this. You need to do your own work. And you need to step up to the plate. And aside from bullshit and stupid assertions, you need to present some evidence that you have done. I'm saying it badly because I'm tired.
It doesn't work like that.
You need to do some work and you need to present it instead of just speaking out of your blowhole. It's enough. Years of this is enough, Chemo.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
You need to do some work.
The Bible was around before your rockets, and the Bible said that
don't care about the Bible. No.
Well, exactly. That's the point. You don't care about what the book says before your rockets, and then you decide to make a rocket.
Yeah, because that's not a scientific document. So
you don't have a scientific document either. Where is your scientific documents?
By Mathematica.
Mathematics is not science.
It's written by a guy named Newton.
Mathematics is not science. Bring the real science. Like I said, in the Bible it said first, told us what the world was like.
I don't give a flying fuck what it says in the Bible, Chemo.
Well, you've got to prove it wrong. You haven't proven it wrong yet.
Chemo in Bible is a talking snake.
Yeah?
When have you seen one of them?
I've never seen one of them.
Exactly.
I've never seen the firmament either.
And you believe it, Chemo?
Yes, that's what we're told. You've got to show it to be false.
You always believe what you're told.
What?
You always believe what you're told.
In the book, in the good book. Well, I think we have to go with what the good book says first, and then obviously if someone else comes along and says, no, that book's wrong, and this is what it is, they've got to be able to prove it, right?
Chemo, your good book says, thou shalt not lie.
Yeah, you shouldn't lie against other people.
It's what you do for fucking 16 hours a day.
It says you shouldn't give false
16 hours a day, you tell lies on here.
You shouldn't give false accounts against other people. So I shouldn't lie and make up something about you. Say you're this or that you're that.
But you just do nothing but tell fibs, man. It's what you do for a living.
Well, again, in your world, what's wrong with lying?
Everything.
Like what? Where'd you get your morals from?
The truth. I'm all about the frequency.
Oh, you just made it up yourself then, did you?
Yep.
So you're God, you're king, you're the ruler.
And remember, Chemo, this is not about me.
Well, this is what I'm trying to say. You're saying you get your rules from you, your laws from you. Yeah. So what's the problem?
What's wrong with my moral structure?
Yeah, why not lie in your worldview? Get to the top. What's the problem?
Because it leads to no good.
What's good?
It's not beneficial to the culture.
What is good?
It's not beneficial to the culture.
What is good? What culture? What culture do we have? We've got foreigners. We've got a mixture of all different types of people. What's the culture?
Whoa! What do you mean foreigners?
What's the culture?
We're all humans, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
What do you mean by foreigners?
So what's the culture you were talking about?
No, answer the question. What do you mean by foreigners?
Well, you brought up culture. What is that culture?
The environment that we live in.
Oh, you're an animal now.
Well, yes.
There you go. So if you're an animal, what does it matter if you lie or not? You get to have all the food. You get to be the lion. You get to be the king of the castle.
What happens if I've got more empathy for my fellow man?
Then you get chewed up by the lions.
Are you pitching yourself as a lion?
Well, I'm saying in your worldview, what would it matter?
Are you pitching yourself as a lion?
Well, what does it mean something to you? What does it mean? I'm a threat in your worldview?
You're not a threat, no. I think you're amusing.
So what's the problem then? What's the problem with lying in your worldview? It's amusing.
I've told you. I've already explained this to you, the problem.
But it's amusing.
So you're okay with lying, are you?
I'm asking you in your worldview, what's wrong with it? You just said it's amusing.
I answered you 5 minutes ago.
Exactly. So if it's amusing, what's the problem?
I didn't say you were amusing.
I said it's amusing.
I didn't.
Terrible.
I said you're.
Terrible, Jeff. Terrible.
I said you're amusing. You're entertainment. You are the entertainment on this server. That's what you are.
Well, as long as you can make everybody happy.
I'm actually surprised people bite. Every day people bite on it.
I'm surprised people believe in the globe.
Makes no difference to your life, though, does it? Whether it's
surprised people believe in space.
That makes no difference to your life.
Can you believe people actually bought this prank?
Makes no difference to your life.
Yeah, because people around me think space is a real place. Now, obviously, God told us about heaven and hell and all these things. They could lose out on all of that. But for you, what difference would that make? You don't believe in all of that, so lying is normal for you.
No, that's just you projecting.
Give over, Jeff. Go and have a cup of tea or something.
Come on, stop with accent.
Give over.
Just because you've lost, you have to start on the accent.
You having a bad morning or what?
No, I'm having a great morning. Around your mum's on Sunday. She's cooking lamb. She's cooking lamb.
We're expecting you.
Lamb, mash, roasted Yorkshire puddings.
Don't talk with the accent too strong though. She doesn't understand it. Like, try and tone it down a bit, right? So, like I say, we're in a very, very unique position, Flat Earthers. We were given insight. Don't ask me how. I have no idea what possessed us with knowledge, information on the truth of the matter. Whereas you guys are stuck in a rut. You guys are stuck in a rut, still on the Earth. Guys would be some of the first people in space, I imagine, if it were a real place. Rocket scientists would have been there at least 4 or 5 times, if it was a real place. Sorry about that. Yeah. So where are we? I mean, again, how we've been able to accumulate all this information in such a short time, where it took you guys. I mean, I tried to think about it. I think, like, how are they not seeing it? Is there
What information? Flat Earth information you can tell in 5 seconds. You
but
don't
I like to think about the psychological aspect of it. Like, how. Like, I sometimes think, do you know it's not a ball, but you're just holding, like Rocket just said, I get paid. So it's like, it's not kind of not worth to argue it. You can't do it. You might think, I can't do anything about it anyway. So there's no point me, going to the flat side anyway, because it makes no difference. Like Jeff is saying, what difference would it make, kind of thing. Like, well, once you realise truth, makes a tremendous. See everything really differently.
Have you air pressure here on the ground?
Pressure.
Is
We
there
have to get into that now. Okay, look, where does the pressure come from?
The question is there air pressure on the ground?
Air pressure on the ground? No, you've only got water pressure. Water pressure. Because the water in the oceans evaporate.
Is there pressure?
The water in the ocean evaporates, and that gives you the water, or you call it gas.
It has to be air pressure. You can't breathe water.
No. Like I said, the water evaporates, giving us the atmosphere that we need. Then that water, if there's gases mixed in with it, will separate and go into their density layer or their tower and stuff.
Yes,
but I suppose space is like helium or a gas or something like that we cannot enter.
Is there pressure here on the ground?
Water pressure, yes.
It don't matter where it comes from. Is there pressure?
If there is, it would be water pressure, but I can't see how you're going to measure that water pressure.
You breathe air. You have to need oxygen. Can't be water pressure.
No, in the atmosphere, if there's any kind of pressure, if you remove the water, you remove the pressure. See?
Yes, that is why on the North Pole, all the air rushes to North Pole and the water collects there.
No, because we're surrounded by water. There's water above us, water below.
If there's on the North Pole or South Pole, they're minus 30 degrees or more. And the water freezes out of the air and collects there, and all the air rushes there, and we have all the water, ice, all the air water collected on the North Pole.
I need to go shopping in a minute. I'll be back though.
It's water only, air only, water, or everything will go there.
No. So look, Lichwink. Okay, above us, in the Bible, it says there is water above, water below. Now, you've got to prove God wrong, the Bible wrong, by providing some kind of evidence that space is not water.
And this guy, they are very smart, and they have all the knowledge we have today.
All the kings of the earth are going to hide under the ground when God returns, and they're going to ask, they're going to be that afraid of God when he returns, they're going to say, make these mountains or something fall on us.
And only for what you're doing just now is to talk you out of the problem that you have no answers. That's the only thing what you're just doing.
Look, you've got to prove that God is wrong. Very difficult.
I never heard some claims from God.
But the Bible was around before you were even born, Lichwing. Who were you to come along as a little kid, grow up and say, you know what, this book is wrong?
Your Christian God, is evolved from some gods before.
No, but I'm saying the Bible was around before you, and you're like, I'm going to grow up, look at this book.
Even the science books are there before me.
No, what science books? Yeah, but I'm saying those scientists, the Bible and religion was around before those scientists. Before. We're here first. Then.
The Bible? It's not this old.
No, not saying with the Bible, but, religion, God and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's always changed. You know that religion always changing. It's changing.
Yeah, it may have changed. I'm not on about that. I'm saying, though, that the world was a spiritual one before these scientists and NASA and stuff. And then obviously NASA came along and said, look, we're going to remove God, yes, and...
No, we found knowledge. We seek for knowledge, and we found a lot of knowledge, and we
All right, where were
this
you then,
knowledge to build
Lichwing?
this world.
God says, where were you when he laid the foundations of the earth? Where were you?
Who
Exactly,
knows God?
see?
It very puzzles me all the time.
What?
There is in the Bible some words God said it gets the earth is there and something will go on. Who heard these words?
Who heard God's words? Well, the writers
They are listening. They're listening to God. We are listening to God in this moment.
God kind of like separated from us a little bit.
Where you get the text from? Who? Nobody was there.
Nobody was where?
In the moment the earth gets created.
Nobody was there. No, of course nobody was there. Because obviously God created Adam and Eve in the garden and stuff. Yeah.
Where did they get the text in the Bible from?
So you understand, like when people are possessed, like demonically, right? And they start going like, saying terrible things, their voice changes and stuff, yeah? So you can get possessed by God as well. And if God wants to possess you, you will be inspired and just write things down, like auto-writing or something. I think that Aleister Crowley...
They think they're possessed. Some of the people, they are possessed by God.
I know, but you know that Aleister Crowley and what's her name? Alice... No, it was one of these ladies in the ancient world.
You're thinking about the Russian lady that used to auto-write in the 1870s.
Yeah, so they're possessed by like demonic demons and stuff. They'll write out their book, like the Book of the Law with Aleister Crowley and stuff like that. That's for the demons, right? To do everything backwards, thought backwards, think backwards, walk backwards, write backwards. Just everything is upside down and backwards. Now they were inspired by demonic forces, obviously, and obviously with God, he inspired his people. Why is this hard to understand?
Except that most religions weren't monotheistic back in the day. In fact, really, apart from one little stint in Egypt, it was all polytheism. So,
yeah, but what we're looking at though, let's stick to the point, Dress. What we're saying is God and all religion came first, and a group of guys came along.
God came first. Gods came first before a
whatever, fallen angels, spiritual, doesn't matter. The point is that a group of guys came along and said, look, we need to remove the idea of God. And we want to replace it with our idea of what we think the world should look like. So they set about trying to build a model, which took them, a very long time to get the numbers right. And then they just baffled the world by hiding the creator. That's where we are today.
Most of the people that did that chemo were very, very religious, like Newton.
So, no, because what it is as well, a lot of the flat earthers, God has made a connection with them and said, look, there are obviously people trying to talk about my creation, trying to change it and stuff. Will you do my bidding, so to speak?
So, I put it in the chat. It's the history of God.
Because you always tell us that the flat earthers are religious. Yeah, and it's kind of true, yeah, because they understand they're at war with, like a spiritual war. It's going to be difficult for you.
Very good video, by the way, Lichwink. Have you had a look at it yet, Chemo?
It's great videos.
How long is it on for, Lichwink?
The evidence that he's posting for his
15 minutes, Lichwink. I'm not going to watch that now. Right? I'll watch that later.
You need to really watch the first 1 minute and 45 seconds of it, Chemo, because I know this.
Yeah, I'll catch that later.
And that will make the point. So I would watch the first 1 minute and 45 seconds to get the point of the video, and then you can.
Yeah, I'll catch that later to get the full scope,
Well, how are you going to address his argument if you're not going to review his evidence?
Like I said, I'll catch that later on and I'll get the full.
Yeah, but then you can't address his argument, so we need to move on to a new topic then, don't we?
Yeah, we'll have to put that argument on pause for a moment and scope. Obvious. So, I mean, it's down to you guys to prove the Bible in particular that gives us the cosmology that we need. Firmament.
No,
You've got to show there's no firmament. And you've got to show that underneath. You've got to show that underneath. Try to dig down. No hell. God says, the model, I should say. Hell below. Lake of fire.
No, the cosmology in Hebraic doesn't show a hell below. It shows Sheol, which is the place of sleep in the Talmudic view of heaven. And
You call it the underworld. Underworld.
No, they call it Sheol, which is the sheep.
Call it
the sleep.
Yeah, I know they
Sheol.
say that Sheol.
Yes, which is a sleep. It's not a place you actually wander around and get punished for anything.
Well, it's hell.
Because no, it's not hell, because the Jews don't have the concept of hell.
Well, some people consider it as hell.
No, they don't.
They do.
They really don't. Show me an article that shows Sheol being.
I didn't say that. I said the underworld.
Analogous to hell.
And again, it depends what perspective you're coming from. Religion, which gods. So, like I said, if we're to believe that... Go ahead, Lichwing.
The difference between science and religion. I told you my difference. What I see in this. I don't want to answer from you. By science, we start with many... we have something and we think, maybe it works like this, like that. And in the end, we figure it out how it really works. Religion starts with one God, and it's split up to thousands of gods. Then nobody knows what happens, what there really happens, and everybody can make his own claims about it. That's why we have a lot of religion.
That's the general idea.
Start with Christianity, and in the United States, we has hundreds of separate flavors of religion.
Then I hear what you're saying. That's the general idea.
Up what you want.
That's the
difference.
Called the problem of pluralism, Lichwink, and it's a very common problem. And you've seen it throughout history. Pluralism in religion.
They have nothing, so they can make up what they want, and everybody has different ideas about God, and so we get a lot of gods. We get a lot of ideas how everything happens. A lot of.
Yeah, but you got to understand it from our perspective. The more
science works exactly the different way.
But literally, from our perspective, the more we recognise the Earth is not a globe, the more we realise it's a creation, and the more the Creator is like a real thing.
I make a picture here. You're standing on a single island and claiming the Earth is flat. Around you, there's science and there's all the world. You are alone with your people.
You know, I find weird, literally, is the fact that the God that Chemo believes in is such a weak ass bastard that he can't make a globe.
Yeah, and that comes.
And he wouldn't come up with the concept of gravity or set sort of good laws of cause and effect in place to give us the ability to explore the universe around us and exercise our free will as individuals to try and get a better.
That gem soundbite would have been good about now.
Hadn't quite finished my point though, Chemo. I don't know if you heard me talking.
Because literally asked me a question, wasn't for you to jump right in.
Right, why do you wait till I'm like, 3/4 of the way through a statement and then make that, observation? It's not like I was like 2 words in. I was like, 10 words.
Yeah, but literally asked me a question, didn't he?
And then you just jumped in to butt in. So why don't you just do me the courtesy of waiting?
Because it's a common occurrence, Struss. Every time literally asks me a question, you jump in and answer it.
Me. I was making a point back.
That's why Jem screamed at you yesterday. Because when Jem was trying to speak, you were over talking Jem the same way. You wouldn't let.
Chemo, he's right. If you wait too long, though, if you wait too long, you have to admit you kind of give it up.
But I'm saying what he did yesterday was Jem was talking to Crit about space, and
Jem's cool about it.
Just now, like right now, kept jumping in, and then Jem screamed at him.
He's jumping in because you're being unfair right now.
And then Jem screamed at him and told him to shut the. Okay. And he said, "Why do you have to jump in when I'm trying to explain something?" That's what happened.
I shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we need that as a soundbite.
You muted me.
We need that as a soundbite when you do what you're doing. We can just play it. Just, won't you just? That's what we need. But literally ask me a question, and as usual, you started to interrupt, overtalk, feel like the question was directed towards you. It wasn't, because if you answer the question, then it means it's going to go in a different direction.
He came back and said, "Yeah, I was a bit OTT there myself. Sorry about that."
It means it's going to go in a
different. Mute me, you did, and that was.
What are you doing?
He's talking.
I'm responding to Litchwink.
You interrupt. Look, you did wait too long, Chemo. I mean, if he's got 10 words into his answer or whatever, he started to say something for a while, then it's like you clearly had given up the floor. Then you can't just change your mind after.
So what was Litchwink's point?
Piss me off and make me shout, Scott. That's what he tried.
What was Litchwink's point?
I wasn't paying attention, but I did hear the silence, and I did hear Just speak, and I did hear how long he was talking.
No, I was speaking. Probably my mic wasn't working as well, but I was actually talking. Litchwink did ask me a question. I was responding. Why is just responding to Litchwink's
No one heard anything you said, so I think you'll have to blame it on the mic.
Yeah, or you're lying like normal, Chemo. And let's face it, you lie a fucking lot. So.
Well, we'll never know that because again, you didn't shut what Jem told you to do because you were now the conversation's gone somewhere else. Okay, it's all about you and what you've done yet again.
Drag it down there.
So Litchwick was asking a question, and you decided, you know what? I'm going to answer this question for him.
Well, you could have waited until Druss finished to answer Litchwin's question. You didn't have to answer his question straight away, Chemo.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was trying to speak, but then just overspoke, just like now, again, yet again. When everyone's speaking to me, so again, Paul is speaking to me, and then Druss decides to answer it for me. Is this a joke or something? What's going on? Literally ask me something, Druss answers. Paul asked me something, Druss answers.
No,
I think the issue
you're being a dick, Chemo.
Again, so what? It's just going to answer the question for me again now? Hey, exactly. So that's my point, Veach. Is that when I speak and I get asked a question, Druss, he didn't do it just to me, he did it to Jem yesterday as well. Jem was talking to Crit, and then Druss decided, I'm going to answer this for you, Jem. And Jem said,
why are you repeating this? You've just told us like 3 times. Okay, we heard that story. The only thing here, I think, is that you had waited so long, it seemed unfair to jump in.
Well, what about with Paul?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking
about. Oh, you don't know about that one, do you? When Paul asked me something, Druss spoke. You don't know about it. Just happened just now.
I think right now people are fighting and tensions are high, so I don't really think it applies right now.
No one else is doing it but Druss.
What'd you say?
No one else is doing it but Druss.
I think Druss is the only other person in the conversation, right?
Yeah, so it's not just me doing it to. He's doing it to everybody that gets asked a question. He decides to answer it.
I don't know if that's true, but I think the point that I think was trying to be made was that you waited so long it seemed unfair to break in at that.
And what about with Paul?
Basic idea.
What about with Paul just now?
I think
Paul
at
asked me
that
a
point
question.
tensions were just high, so it was unclear what's going on there. It was just chaos.
Paul asked me a question, and Druss decided to answer it straight away. What's that all about? Twice he's just done that.
I'm not sure. I think it's because tensions were high, like I said.
Maybe because he wanted to be part of the conversation.
He can be part of the conversation, but if someone asks me a question and then he decides to take it on another direction, nothing to do with the question, what are you supposed to do?
What was Paul's question?
Paul asked me, why didn't I let him finish?
And maybe if Druss started answering it first before you did, you should have waited until Druss had finished and then responded.
Yeah, and by the way, Paul didn't ask you a question. He
did.
Said something. No, he said, you're being a dick.
No, he didn't. He said, why didn't you let Druss finish? No, he didn't.
Yes, I did. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Why didn't you let Druss finish?
No, he didn't say that. He said, you're being a dick.
Right, he asked me a question. Talking to me. And again, like he did yesterday with Jem, wouldn't let Jem finish his point.
Okay, we don't need to hear the story again. They worked it out. It's fine.
So, stop answering questions for me, Druss. I'm capable of answering these questions. If somebody wants to ask a question, you don't need to jump in and give your opinion on what you think is going on. If somebody wants to ask you a question...
He wasn't answering a question for you. He was answering a question.
No, I was being asked a question.
Can you stop acting like an adult then, Chemo?
Right? And like I said, this is not the first time. He did it with you, Paul. He did it with Litchwink. He did it with Jem. He did it with anybody that wants to have a conversation. Okay? And we can't be having this.
You don't like the fact, Chemo, that what I do is I take your arguments and I show where you're being disingenuous and you're lying. You don't like the fact that I do that. You don't like the fact that I actually understand fucking religion and history so much better than you, and you make stupid claims and I show them to be wrong time and time again. Yeah, I get a little emotive on the mic sometimes. Fair call. You know, I admit that. But you know what, Chemo? If you said to me, hey, I wanted to ask that question that Lichwink asked me, and you did it in a reasonable way, like everybody else does, like Jeremy does, like anybody else does, I immediately go, sorry, mate, go on. Which I do regularly in here, Chemo. You act
exactly,
like
you're constantly
prick,
saying
so
sorry,
I treat
aren't
you
you?
like a prick.
Constantly apologising. Exactly.
No, I give way quite a lot when people want to make a point because I'm not an arsehole that needs to be the centre of attention like you. Exactly. Thank you. That was a great soundbite, bro. Great soundbite, recorded. We'll use that one.
All right. Well, at this point, maybe we can just get back to it.
Chemo,
you
leave
were.
it there, and I'll let
All right.
Chemo continue.
Okay.
And literally, if I stepped on your toes in any way, I do apologise for that.
Again, he's apologising.
I don't think I did. You see, again, Chemo is all about whataboutism, because he knows he's such an ignorant little motherfucker that whataboutism, which is a great Soviet piece of propaganda that's been used for many years to try and just muddy the water and make your opposition look like
the point now,
they're at fault as well.
That's why he gets muted.
That was a
just
monologue.
like
I
that.
apologise.
Again, nothing to do with the conversation. Okay?
I just feel stupid.
Don't even know what
I think
literally we're talking about now.
I think you're just pulling straws right now, Chemo.
Maybe.
What we were talking about was religion and pluralism, and how the fact that you were trying to assert that it was a monotheistic point of view at the start of history, when what we actually see is completely the opposite. You were trying to assert the fact that your religion seems to go back further than it actually does, which it doesn't. And everybody had this one God view, this monotheistic view, which they didn't. It's a modern kind of thing, not more than sort of 2,500 years old.